Hi, I hope you're well, safe, and healthy. This year, Pesach is quite unique that the first Seder is Saturday night. And therefore, Erev Pesach is Shabbos, which poses interesting challenges. This happens quite rarely. The next time this will happen is in 2025, and the next time after that will be in 2045. So, the siyum is made on Thursday. Usually the firstborn have a fast on Erev Pesach. Instead of fasting, they hear a siyum, as somebody completes a tractate of the Talmud. Usually it's done at Erev Pesach, but Erev Pesach is on Shabbos. Shabbos you cannot fast unless it's Yom Kippur. So you push back the fast. You push back the fast to Friday. You can't push it back either. The only time we fast on Friday is on Asar B'Tevis. So we push it back on Thursday. So on Thursday, the firstborn, instead of fasting, they hear a siyum. Now, since this siyum is pushed off, so therefore it has less stringency, it has more leniency this year, and therefore there is a leniency for those that cannot fast and cannot hear a siyum. They could redeem their fast with a certain amount of charity. Also, because of Corona, if someone is still scared to come out, he could, because of Corona, if someone is scared to come out, he could hear the siyum through Zoom. So this is for firstborn males. By us in the Young Israel of Brighton, the Shachas will be Thursday morning. We're talking all obviously about March 25th. Thursday morning, March 25th, 2021. I'm saying the year because I might use it in 4 years from now. So we shouldn't mix up the year. But anyway, when I teach on holidays, I try to use the year. So anyway, it's like this. If I ever use it again, they'll understand that the days are different. But anyway, so again, we're talking about Thursday, March 25th. The siyum is Thursday morning by us in Young Israel of Brighton. It's 7 o'clock. It's Shachas, followed by the siyum, approximately 8 o'clock. An interesting point, those that used last year, the mikvahs were closed at this time. So people that bought new utensils for Pesach could not immerse them in the mikvah. So there was a certain leniency that they sold they made a shtar mechira, there was this document that they sold the utensils to a non-Jew. This does not apply this year because the mikvahs are open, and therefore those utensils that you bought last year and you used that leniency from last year, you have to toivel this year. Those same utensils you have to immerse in the mikvah this year. Searching for the chametz is Thursday night. We should also remember that we have to search the chametz in the place of work, business, and also in our car. Very important. Especially if you have children, they eat in the car, there's crumbs everywhere. But always, you have to clean the car beforehand. Clean the car well. Those that live by us in Brighton here, Shipshead Bay, Oakley's car wash on Neptune Avenue has a special Passover cleaning. I used them this year, and they do a good job. I'm not giving a kosher supervision, but pretty much you have to look what they did. Obviously, afterwards you look what they did, but they do a pretty good job. Thursday night you should also search for chametz in the car as well with a flashlight in the car because it's not safe with a candle in the car. After you search for chametz, you say the kol chamira. the nullification of the chametz like every year. Now, I mentioned this in the past years that nullifying the chametz is not a prayer; it's a declaration that the person, the owner of the chametz, makes. He declares it ownerless. He declares it worthless, like dust of the earth, and therefore he has to understand, or a woman that's the only one in the house, she does it. So he or she has to understand the language that they're saying it. You can't just say in Aramaic or Hebrew, you don't know what you're saying. It's not a prayer. Prayer is another subject, but here it's a declaration of disowning the chametz, of declaring it worthless and ownerless, totally worthless, like dust of the earth. So you have to understand very well what you're saying, and you have to mean it with your heart. Okay. Obviously, if you have to mean it with your heart, for sure you have to understand what you're saying. Another point, the vacuum cleaner that cleaned all the chametz, that bag inside must have a lot of chametz. You got to make sure to get rid of it properly. Mizmor L'Seder is usually not said on Erev Pesach, but this year Friday is not really Erev Pesach, so we do say Mizmor L'Seder on Friday. We burn the chametz Friday morning. We're going to announce exactly when we're burning it by us in the parking lot. However, we do not say the Kol Chamira, the second Kol Chamira, the second nullification that we do during the day. We push that off for Shabbos morning. We must remember to do it Shabbos morning, very important. However, the Yeh Ratzon, some have the custom to say Yeh Ratzon. The Yeh Ratzon is said like every year right after the burning. The main challenge is the Shabbos meals. So Shalosh Shuddis, you could use fruit in such a case, etc. But Friday night and Shabbos morning, the meals have to have bread, and matzah you cannot use. You're not allowed to eat matzah the day before Pesach. So what could you do? You have to use chametz. We'll see about egg matzah soon, but you have to use chametz. So there's a few ways how to do it. The most practical, the best way is as follows. The actual meals should be totally kosher Pesach, kosher for Passover. You serve the meal in throwaway utensils, paper, plastic, cutlery, plates, cups, spoons, knives, forks, etc. You prepare little tiny rolls that contain 2 ounces. A kabeya, which is 2 kazetzim, which is 2 ounces. And you prepare a place where you're going to eat these rolls. You make kiddush, you wash, and then you make hametz on these rolls. You prepare like a little, in the corner of the room, either a small chair or a tiny table. You cover it with tissues. You eat on top of the tissues carefully. These little chalalach, these tiny rolls of 2 ounces. Since it's a video, I'll show you. If you eat it regularly, it could fall on your pants, on your shirt, on your jacket, and you have a problem. The crumbs. So you eat it over, bending forward over the tissues. You're very careful that the crumbs should not fall around. If they do, you pick them up carefully, you put them on the tissue. And after you're done, you take the tissue carefully with the crumbs and you flush them down the toilets. Afterwards, you wash your hands well, you rinse your mouth well, and you continue the meal. It'd probably be a very good idea also to wipe yourself if you could go out. If you live in a building, it's a little more complicated. Also, in the hallway, at least not in your house. But if you live in a private house, you just go out to the porch and you shake yourself off. Just although you're very careful, even one crumb, you want to be careful. You shake yourself off as well, outside of the house. People asked about egg matzah. Why can't you use egg matzah? So several opinions. There are opinions that say you should not do it with egg matzah. And therefore, you should preferably not do it with egg matzah. However, little children, if you have young children at home, you can give them a challah. They're going to crumb every, it's going to be a mess. And then it's going to be even worse with chametz. So then you could give egg matzah. So although it's less stringent, but you should also, as children, you should also try to eat in one spot over those tissues, and being careful, and then flush the rest of the crumbs down the toilet, like we said before. All the needs of the Seder, for the kaida, for the plate, etc., should all be done before Shabbos. You cannot prepare anything from Shabbos to Yom Tov, and anything from one day Yom Tov to the next. The women remember to say Baruch HaMavlo Ben Kedesh L'Kedesh, and the Kiddush is a unique Kiddush Saturday night. The Baruch HaMavlo Ben Kedesh L'Kedesh is said Saturday night at the correct time, as we'll see in the Luach, in the schedule that you'll get in Mr. Shem. And so that's Baruch HaMavlo Ben Kedesh L'Kedesh, Saturday night at the right time, and after the time. And Yak Nahaz is the special Kiddush that we make Saturday night. We incorporate the Havdalah into the Kiddush, which it's a unique Havdalah because it's not a weekday. It's Yom Tov, it's holiday, but still Shabbos, the holiness of Shabbos is higher, greater than the holiness of the holiday. So therefore, you also have to make Havdalah. You incorporate in the Kiddush the Havdalah. And the Havdalah is Ben Kedesh L'Kedesh, not between holiness and weekday, but between holy and holy. Because between these two holinesses of Shabbos and Yom Tov, there's also a different level, and therefore it has to be separated. Thank everybody for listening. All the best. HaKosher and Freilich and Pesach. HaKosher, happy Pesach.